So you probably want to see the games that I started off with on the Sega Genesis, and I'm going to show those to you. Just some games I spent a lot of time with, the games I started with, things like that. And the first one, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, is Altered Beast, made by Sega. It was an arcade port. It was almost perfect, not entirely, but it was pretty damn close. Anyway, I've done a playthrough of this game already, but I'll just show some gameplay footage just in case you don't remember. Basically, it's a side-scroll beat-em-up. It auto-scrolls, and you just beat the shit out of ghouls and enemies. You collect orbs from these blue wolf-looking things, or cerebuses, or whatever you want to call them. I don't know the name. And you get 3 orbs, and then you become a beast on every stage. Like, different. Like, this one's going to be a wolf, as you'll soon see. It's a very, very short 20-minute experience. I mean, I'd be pissed if this wasn't packed in with my Genesis. But, unfortunately, for the people who got the first model of the Genesis, this was your packing game. And I guess they were just trying to push the issue that the Genesis was arcade hardware, which in some ways it is. The only thing that the Genesis lacked, in my opinion, was the color palette. It's terrible. 64 colors ain't jack fucking shit, even for 1989. Or 88. So basically, yeah, you just basically kill this fuckhead. There's a trick that you can keep doing that, but I never was able to do it right. I'm just beating the boss. I'm not playing for real or nothing, but it's a nice game, especially if you have a friend to play with you. It's for a nice little 20-minute bash if you're not doing anything. Of course, for a packing game, I guess 20 minutes isn't all that bad, but I still think the SNES beats the Genesis in that regard. Super Mario World was a large, fantastic game. But, the fact that the Genesis was able to do an arcade port this good is pretty commendable, I would say, wouldn't you? That very sound is nostalgic for thousands and maybe even millions of gamers. This was the game my brother received with his Genesis back in 1991. This was his packing game, and it was smart, because this was when the Super Nintendo was released. It was released August of that year, but for Christmas time, you had Genesis in this and Super Nintendo with Mario World, and this was a smash hit because of its fast speed and decent level designs, and then the fan base, though, they're a bunch of rabid man children. They need to grow up a little bit, don't you think? And that's why this video is going to get thumbed down to oblivion, but ask me if I give a shit. But yeah, the premise is pretty simple. You just run through stage to stage, grab as many rings as you can, and repeat for about 5 or 6 more zones. I think there's 6. It's been a while since I played through, so I could have had my facts wrong on that. But yeah, the sense of speed is what made this game a big seller. The whole blast processing aspect. And if you jump in that big ring, you have a chance to get a Chaos Emerald in the special stage. Let's see if I can get the Chaos Emerald. For the sake of this video, I doubt it. Because I fucking hate this special stage. It's garbage. You're given little to no control. It's stupid. Stop going so fast. Ah! They look like those fucking mint candies. There we go. Yeah, you basically repeat that until the entirety of the game. And that's it. There's really not much to say in terms of the game. But yeah, you just basically repeat. There's 3 stages per level, and you fight a boss in the 3rd stage. And you want to get all the Chaos Emeralds. I believe there's 7 in this game, and then there's 6 from that point on. I could be wrong on that. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, all Sonic games have new features put in them that make them, one unique more than the other. Everyone's favorite Sonic 2. Some people hate Sonic 1, and they have their right. My favorite is also 2, but 3 is very close behind it. And of course, my least favorite is this one, because it's just plain. But it's the first of its kind, and it has that charm. Not to say it's a bad game, you know, just because it's a least favorite. I mean, notice the word favorite is underneath that sentence. So, it's still a great game, but I will always put 2 and 3 above this one in the original Genesis trilogy of Sonic the Hedgehog games. So, moving on. Now, for people who've known me for a long period of time should know this is like my favorite beat 'em up ever. Well, not exactly true. The second one is, but you know, I'll show a snippet of that just a little bit. But this was basically Sega's answer to Capcom saying, "You don't want to make games in our system? It's not capable of making Final Fight and stuff like that? Well, we'll show you up on your own game." And that is Streets of Rage 3, with Yuzo Koshiro at the helm with the soundtrack. This game is largely remembered for its soundtrack. All of them are. I still think the first 2 games were the best in the series. A lot of people like to argue that the third game has a great soundtrack, and it doesn't. It's ear rape to me. Every time I listen to it, I'd rather go deaf. Hell, I'd rather listen to the Shaq Fu soundtrack, and that shit's awful. But as you can see, it's straight up beat 'em up action. If you have a friend with you, you actually have 2-player simultaneous beat 'em up action as well, which Final Fight on the SNES did not have. I mean, this cart is running off 4 megabits, which is the same as Altered Beast. So that's why the graphics don't look as good as the 16 meg counterpart, which is Streets of Rage 2. Probably because I don't think they had the chips available at that time. That's why this game's plain looking, but, you know, I'm not a graphics whore, so this is fine. I can play this. I mean, kids nowadays are like, "Oh my god, the graphics are ugly." Shut the fuck up. Just enjoy the game for what it is and fuck off. If old games make you that sick, then that's your problem. I don't care for your opinion. Go play Fortnite and Call of Duty. Give me Streets of Rage. And yes, I've heard of Streets of Rage 4, and I mentioned it. I'm going to buy it. If I have the money, great. If I don't, well, I'll get it when I have the money. It's really that simple. I mean, it's... From what I understand, it's being made by the same company that was involved with the Wonder Boy remake. And, you know, they did a fantastic job on that, but here's the thing, Streets of Rage 4 is not a remake. It's a reimagining or a true sequel to our beloved beat 'em up. And Guard Crush Games, they made one game that was really broken, but it has a charm to it. And that game is Streets of Fury EX. It was released, I believe, it's released on PC, Xbox 360, and I think that's it. It's basically a game that uses digitized graphics, and it's a beat 'em up. But it's terrible. There's no balance. It's if you have like it's 4-player beat 'em up though, so it might be easier on that. But single player, I can tell you this much: it's awful. I've completed it once. I have no intention of playing that game again, unless I'm really high or drunk and someone wants to play it with me. Maybe. That's a pure maybe. One time I had a boring friend that wanted to play chess with me when I was high and drunk, and that was boring as fuck. Anyways, I thought I'd just get to the first boss. You know, it's a straight beat 'em up, but you know what? What other beat 'em up does this happen in? Answer: none of them. It makes boss battles so much easier. And it also helps, you know, if you beat the shit out of everybody that's around you, like with enemies and shit. And that's Streets of Rage. And each one has its own... Like, I'll show you 2 real fast. Let me just do it this way. I know this is very unprofessional, but that's not what this channel's about. It's about just flat-out games. I mean, compare that to this. Sorry about the mouse. I'll get that out of the way. Here's the sequel. You have 4 characters instead of 3. Of course, Axel's my guy. Some people like Max because he's the stronger, but he's slow. He has a run attack, though, which makes him nice. But look how much different this game looks. Like in graphic detail. I mean, it just looks... It's bigger, better. I mean, they made this... To me, this is the magnum opus of Streets of Rage games. Or is it opus? Ugh. And that smacking sound is so satisfying, man. It's like when you're hitting it from the back and you smack a woman's ass, or a dude if you're gay. There you go. It has that same satisfying smacking sound. It's glorious. And, of course, the soundtrack. I mean, this is shit you would hear on the radio at the time. If you listen to R&B stations, this is the kind of shit you would hear. Like, similar. Very similar. Well, Yuzo Koshiro used a lot of American R&B and hip-hop music for inspiration for this game. Yeah, but we played the shit out of this game. That sprite work looks all jacked up. That's funny. Yeah, if you ever want to do that, just press the A button and pause the game real fast. It looks like he broke his neck. And that face is hilarious, too. Well, that's Streets of Rage 2. Both games spent so much time on those. Amazing stuff. If you haven't played beat 'em ups, that's your start right there. Final Fight's good and all, but I would play Streets of Rage first. And then you can see why people prefer Streets of Rage over Final Fight. There's just more substance here. While Final Fight is the same in all 3 sequels. Not to say that they're bad, but they're not very great either. Okay, well this is Alicia Dragoon. I tried to stream this game a while ago, and I have not played this game in years before that point. But when I first bought this game for $5 back in 1998, or was it 96? One of those years. At first I hated it, because I was like, this. I was like this, like, okay, this ain't bad, and all of a sudden, I can't attack. Why? And then I find out, well, you have a lightning gauge in the top of the screen. And I was like, okay, this ain't so bad. This is pretty good. But then I hear the soundtrack. It blends well with the atmosphere of this game. And it's made by Game Arts, and they're prolific. They made lots of great stuff out there. I don't know any off the top of my head, because my brain's not working today. But if it was, I could tell you some. And if you charge up your blast all the way, you can do a rolling attack, like that. And it does hella damage to bosses and enemies. And Alicia has 4 different forms that they can have help her out. They have the dragon, which just attacks. The fire guy, I'm not sure what he does. Someone tell me, because I'm still not sure to this day. Then you have the wyvern, which uses bombs, and when the higher level it goes, the more enemies he can kill on the screen when the bombs charge up. Here, I'll show you what I mean. See? He clashes bombs, and then he can kill like maybe 1 or 2 enemies at this point, but later on he gets, like, he can kill more enemies with those bombs. See? And then you have this cute little guy who's a lizard with a boomerang. And he also just attacks enemy, but with quickness, unlike the dragon. The dragon's a little slow with his attacking. But since I got a hard-on for dragons, he's my favorite. There's bosses in this game, different levels. There's secrets to be found, which will help you out in your adventure. Like, see, there's one up there, and the only way to get it is to use the rolling thing, and then bam. Those stars give your helpers an extra level. So now his firepower will be stronger. I mean, this is a really kick-ass game. I mean, I can't recommend it enough. The music is fantastic, and it's got secrets galore. It's just an overall fun experience. It's got a good ending, too. It's not disappointing like some of these endings that we see in most games of this caliber. It actually has a see, I was just checking to make sure of that. See if there's any more secrets to be held, and there wasn't. So... yeah, I know some people probably seen this video on Pat the NES Punk, and he had like a stripper... not a stripper, I'm sorry, a porn star on that video. I mean, it's pretty pitiful that he has to fucking get a porn star to help him out with a video of that caliber. That he could have done that shit himself. He didn't have to have a porn star. Not hating porn. I mean, shit. I'm a man, you know? And men like porn. Wyvern's pretty dope when you get him powered up all the way. See, look at that. See, this is all around good stuff. Yeah, some people like the Wyvern. Now, if you see those that little gauge underneath the level 2, that's, if it goes all the way, that means he's ready to explode his bombs. I will let this cutscene play, and then we'll move on to the next title. It's a final boss in the cocoon, and you have this douchebag that wants his master to awaken. One of those guys that thinks if you raise your ancient bad guy, he can control him. Kind of like in the Spirit of Ys, if you ever played those games. Our leader has returned to us. Or where'd he go the first time? Was he like, fuck all, and just said, okay, I'm going away, goodbye, and then he comes back? You know, I don't know. Some things are just left unspoken of. And then it selects the helper that you had for you, so that's nice. And then you proceed on with your adventure. Great game. I hope to do a playthrough of this in the future. I need to get more practice and get better. Definitely worth your time and worth a play. I would suggest giving it a try, especially if you like platformers with action aspects. Another favorite of mine. I bought this for $10 in the July of 1997. I don't know if this was a true sequel to the arcade one, because there was a sequel in Europe only for the Sega Master System called the Cyber Shinobi. One day I may show that game, but I'm not going to play it because it is bloody awful. I'll show you a code for this game. If you want infinite shurikens, what you do is you go to Shuriken 0 and just wait. And now you have infinite shurikens. Makes the game easier. I mean, if you want the challenge, don't bother, but I like to have infinite shurikens. Now, this is not the game that has Spider-Man, Batman, and all that. This is one of the revised copies that had all that taken out, which is unfortunate. But yeah, this has the same action aspect you would expect from a Shinobi game. Except this time you have a life bar, and you have power-ups, and lots of ninja action, and you get your ass kicked. Double jumping, and that's called the Rainbow Strike when you do that. And you also got some kick-ass early Yuzo Koshiro. Matter of fact, this was the game that really put Yuzo Koshiro on the map. This game was called the Super Shinobi in Japan. And he had a CD soundtrack and everything released in Japan, because Japan, they respect VGM. Hey, America, can we have some of that goodness, please? Stop with this mainstream crap we have on the radio and play some good old classic VGM music. Play some Yuzo Koshiro, man. I'd love to go down the highway blaring some Yuzo Koshiro. That'd be dope-ass shit. There's mazes in this game, too, and little puzzles. I mean, the puzzles are, but, like, they're not threatening at all. But the mazes, especially in the final stage, I don't want, like I said, I don't want to spoil too much. That's why I don't play much of these, unless I do a playthrough or a stream. The last stage's maze will make your head spin. It is absolutely... It's absolute bullshit. I mean, even to this day, I can't learn that fucker. I tried so hard the other day when I was playing this on my Genesis, and I was like, God damn it, how did I figure this shit out when I was younger? You know, when you get older, it's like you become either dumber... God damn it. Touchy-ass jumping. Okay, here we go. I just want to get to the first boss, because I think that's a fair place to a cutoff point, don't you think? I mean, if you want to see me doing a different style when it comes to showing the games I spent a lot of time with, let me know. But the maze really pisses me off to this very day. I mean, when you're a kid, you know, you have a patience of a fucking god. And then when you get older, you just don't have patience for the bullshit anymore. You're just like, no, fuck a bunch of this. I don't want to deal with it. Fuck off. Some people, though, have the patience that they're willing to learn it and do it without too much of an issue. Actually, there's one more game I'm going to show you that I've also spent a lot of time with, and I couldn't understand why I liked it so much, but I did. It's, you know, simple side-scroll action. Here's the boss. You also have magic. Whatever you do, do not pick Mijin. I'll show you why. Look at your life. One life goes away. If you do it on your last life, game over. Okay, this guy just requires a little bit of timing and patience. And he's done. Mijin is a very powerful weapon, or magic. If you have the lives to do it, it's great to make short work of a boss. But if you don't, don't suggest using it. And this level's a bitch. You gotta do double jumping and climb up waterfalls, and I don't feel like dealing with it. Alright, I'll show you the last game I spent a lot of time with and started with. I'll go ahead and just do it from here, because, well, fuck it. Now, this game is not fondly liked by many, from my understanding. But, for some reason, I love this game, because it was very akin to the first Shinobi game that was released in the arcade. Yeah, it's a Shinobi title. It's Shadow Dancer. Good stuff. You die in one hit in the game. It's nothing like the arcade. Except maybe the sprite works a little similar. You still have your dog. What is his name? Yamato, I think? And if you hold the B button, he can attack enemies for you. Or hold them while you... Like the... Fuck. It's hard to explain and play at the same time, because this game requires a hell of a lot of concentration. When he barks, if you have the gauge all the way up, let go of the button, and he'll go after the enemy. Hold him for you, and then you can kill him, and that way he can't attack. Now Yuzo Koshiro didn't do the music to this game, but it still has that classic, awesome early 90s Sega sound. When you save the chicks, you get power up. So you basically shoot Hadouken-based shurikens, I guess. And there's extra lives hidden in like the back of the stage. You probably saw back there. I was able to get an extra life to appear. Yeah, a lot of people did not like this game from what I talked to. Everyone always said, oh, that game sucks. I'm like, why? Because you die in one hit? It's a challenge. Who gives a shit? I, for one, really enjoyed this game. Your dog can get hit if he holds an enemy for too long. He doesn't die, though. He becomes small, which is, well, I guess it's good because they don't want to show violence towards animals in the video game. See, that's an extra life. Wow, there's all this shit happening at once. I don't remember if there's an... I didn't think so. Okay. My memory's failing me. Alright, boss time. And you can use magic. It changes from stage to stage. Like in this stage, it's the meteor fireballs. Shit. It takes about 2 damage away from the boss, if memory serves me. I'll see if I can get him down. Alright. That magic sounds... It almost sounds like he's starting a car. Yeah, there we go. And that's Shadow Dancer. A really awesome game. You should give it a try, especially if you like arcade-style one-hit kills to yourself. Games like Contra. It's a lot of fun, though. But yeah, let me know what some of your favorite... Either your favorite or what games you started off as. What games did you play that gave you the most memories? Or that you started with, because basically these aren't like just, I mean, these are favorites of mine, sure, but these are the games I started off on the Genesis with and spent a lot of time with. Some of them took a while to beat, especially Shadow Dancer. The final boss is no joke. Maybe I can do this on a playthrough or a stream. I mean, let me know in the comments. I'd appreciate that. But if you want to tell me your favorite games, you know, we can have a conversation in the comment section. I'm always willing to talk with my fans or fans of retro gaming. So anyways, I am Forever Archer 82. I hope you enjoyed the story and the games. And I will definitely see you on the next one. Until then, take care.